students, we all have had to take classes that bored us or have had outside distractions or feel like we will never be able to memorize everything for a test. So what do we do when these things happen? Thankfully, there are some techniques and easy solutions to help get you through those tough times in college and throughout your career. When you have to go to a class or an event that you consider boring or uninteresting, it's easy to let your mind wander, check out social networking sites, or text on your mobile device. And of course, you will have outside assignments as well as classwork. It's easy to become distracted and not to complete the work each week. Fortunately, there are strategies that can help with concentration and memory. Paying attention in class is the first step to being productive. By participating and paying attention during class, you'll save time later in the semester because you'll already be familiar with the material.
In terms of motivating oneself to pay attention, there are a number of things a student can do. One is sit towards the front of the class. That removes distractions. Two is to ask questions, to stay active in the process. And three is to find relevance in the material to one's own life. When I was in graduate school, I was, like many of my fellow classmates, reluctant to ask questions. One of my classmates was Phil, who later became known as Dr. Phil. He was one to ask so many questions in class, and at first I felt confused by what he was doing and why he had such difficulty with the material. What I later realized is that he was mastering the material, and he was the one at the end of the class who did the best on the test and got the highest grade.
If a class is boring or very difficult, you may find it hard to stay focused in that class. Under these circumstances, your motivation for paying attention may falter. To increase your motivation and thus increase your attention for this type of material, it may be helpful to think about how doing well in this class will ultimately lead to accomplishing important goals in your life. You may want to remind yourself that by doing well on assignments, you're one step closer to passing this class and eventually getting a degree. Remind yourself that by completing the degree, you will be one step closer to your career goal. It may be helpful to think of the rewards you'll obtain by reaching your ultimate career goal. Picture yourself with the job you want, with money in the bank, and the fulfilling relationships you desire. This can bring meaning to a boring assignment and increase your motivation for paying attention. Another method of enhancing attention is to study in an environment that is conducive to learning. It's incredibly important that you learn the best way for you to study. This starts with controlling your environment. This may mean getting away from your noisy home, dorm, or apartment. If you live with roommates or people who tend to distract you, find a quiet area to study. The library is a great place and has all the resources you need. If that's not an option, you can simply put a "Do Not Disturb" sign on your door. Let your friends and family know ahead of time your study schedule and ask them to respect that time. When you have a test or a paper to work on and your friends are inviting you out to a movie or a party, it's helpful to learn to say no to them. Controlling your environment can also mean turning off your cell phone to avoid distractions. In addition, it is important to learn how you learn most efficiently. You may find that you work best when studying in complete silence, or you may be someone who concentrates better when there is some background noise such as music.
I used to come home from work, the TV was on, my daughter had her books on her lap. I thought to myself, how can she study with that noise going on? And I made her turn it off. After that, I came home, the TV was on, and she seemed to be really focusing on her books. And I wondered, how can she do that? But what I learned over time eventually was that some people study best with some background noise. And unlike me, people who need and prefer complete silence when they're studying, there are people like my daughter who actually can focus better with background noise.
Some people do better in the morning, and some better late at night, or some in between. When it comes to your particular study habits, make a schedule for yourself and stick to it. Figure out when you're most alert and pick that time to study. Finally, all work and no rest becomes weary, so be sure to take breaks during study time. Get up and stretch, have a snack, or go for a walk, and then go back to your work. Whatever motivates you to concentrate is what's important. And remember, sleep and good nutrition are vital. Don't forget that when you enter your career, there will still be work that you are not fond of doing. By learning these techniques now, you'll be able to use them throughout your life.